Lisa D in Langhorne, new potential customer for mowing. Scope of work, bringing in some red stone, just a little bit here and there, trimming, aeration overseeding, and some weeding. So I'll start in the front side. So some of the shrubs that are starting to like bud and almost show flower, we don't want to trim those because I don't want to cut them and then they don't bloom this year. So you'll kind of see that as we walk through, but I'll start over here so you can lightly prune and shape that, no problem. The other thing I'll mention is it's not really too bad. You got like this landscape stone. So a couple things with it. It's a small like red tipple, I think it might be called. Not that they need a lot, but they mentioned about bringing some in to fill in some bare spots. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's really too necessary, so we don't need to bring too much, but they mentioned it, so we'll bring a little bit. The other thing I would say is it's overflowing in a lot of spots. So you can see the border here, and it's flown into the yard. So part of the work, let's clean it up a little bit, and I'll put in the estimate, kind of clean it up and get it back into the bed, out of the lawn. And then when we do aerate and overseed, let's just try to hit the bare spots really good. Yeah, anywhere where you see it's like real bare, try to hit it a little harder. But anyway, so, and then weeding of all these redstone. Really not too many weeds at this point, but if you see stuff popping up as you go through, just kind of pull it out and weed it out. But, all right, so moving here. So these you can like deadhead them. So cut all this. These dormant balls are gone. You can cut the whole thing down to about that height for all three of them. Cut them all down. So 1, 2, 3, 5 of them. Cut them down, 6 to 8 inches. You got some hostas coming up. You can leave them be. These hostas never got cut back, so just snip all these down, get the dead dormant stuff. Do have a weed poking here. I don't see too many other weeds at the moment. They're pretty like gentle with everything too. Like they walk and stuff, but they weren't real specific about every single bush. They just moved in recently, so kind of like use your judgment type of stuff. Lightly prune and shape these two. The maple, so just do a very light trimming of the maple. Just trim like the bottom, like that umbrella kind of look. Don't go crazy with it, just a light trim. Don't want to stress it out or anything. It's a really nice tree. So very light prune of just the bottom of it. Moving over to here, I don't see many weeds, but if they pop up, you can clean them up. You could do a light trimming of these 3 smaller shrubs here. Again, if you see this kind of overflowing, you can kind of push it back in. A couple weeds here, you can weed out. This, I would take a string trimmer and just kind of bust this up to get the walkway back a little bit, and then clean that up. This one, when you're trimming it, you can trim it, but just be very cautious about not cutting these things that are budding. I would only cut some of them that are really high. I wouldn't get like, don't cut it back dramatically because we'll probably lose all these buds if we do that. Just cut the really high stuff. Probably should have got cut back a little earlier in the spring. But yeah, just cut the really high stuff. I don't think this would bud anyway. But leave all this like be. Light prune of that. Light prune of that. Can leave this tree alone. Can light prune of that. Moving over to here. I guess that's the whole company, AJ's. This stuff I would kind of just cut it back, kind of get it off the walkway a little bit. I would leave these alone as far as trimming goes because they are all starting to like bud out. So I don't want to cut them and then they don't bloom this year. Little bit of weeding to do in here. I would leave this one alone probably at this point. These are kind of tough, you can't trim them back too much. If anything, you can just cut this lower one just a little bit to get it off the walkway, but I would leave the rest go. It's not an ideal plant for the location because you can't really trim these back and it's like on the house, so it just is what it is. Clean up these beds a little bit. You have a ton of Liriope. They're all over. I think they counted like 38 or 40 of them. So definitely light cut back of all of them. You can see the brown, so cut the brown back. Here's some spots where you could probably fill in some stone. You can see like the fabric's kind of showing, so just kind of fill that in, but don't go crazy because you can see it's already flown into the neighbor's yard. But a little bit here and there. All the liripe here you can trim and cut back. All this could use a pretty good cut back. Some of these are a little greener, so you can cut a little less off of them. Some of them are a little more yellow, so cut a little more of them. You can lightly prune and shape that one. A lot of light pruning and shaping out here. And in the back, there's a good amount going on back here. All right, so this one, just cut the top. You'll need probably 10 foot high, so 6 foot with extension should do it with the extender pole. 8 foot would be a lot easier if you had it. But if you were only at the 6, you could probably make it work. And then just like trim the back here, just give it a good shape. Blow out the leaves, trim all the liripe. Good aerating and oversheeting back here. Hit these spots really good. I would try to maybe cut an edge for them here. Don't really see much going on, so I would cut an edge here. It just looks really washed, and I don't see a border. I see a little bit here, but anyway, maybe just cut a fresh edge for them, and then here's another spot where you can kind of add some stone after you cut an edge for them. Light pruning and shaping of these, cutting all these liripe back, some weeding in here. I guess we'll walk this way. This one, you could leave this go. Got some leaves and debris back here. We can blow and clean up. Some leaves and debris here to clean up. Cherry laurels, you can give them a light trim. Do have some leaves and stuff to clean up back here. Here's some weeding going on. I suspect by the time we come out, more weeds will be popping. Could probably just lightly shape these a little bit. I would say probably leave these two alone unless they say something otherwise. A little bit of weeding in here. Again, try to clean up some of the stones washing over the border. So try to get that back in. Ton of liripe again back here. I mentioned about bringing in some topsoil over here. I think I might leave it out for now, but there's just like some holes and stuff. I think I'll leave it alone for now, but all right, trimming of these so you can lightly trim. This one you'll probably want the 8 foot. It's about 8 foot, but it's pretty high up. So in order to get the top, it doesn't need a lot of trimming, but probably give it a little bit of a shape along the backs and the top. Cutting all the liripe.
Unknown caller.
Try to clean up these stones a little bit. Wouldn't kill yourself because it's kind of a mess back here with the stone. It's like a washout going on, but yeah, I guess try to clean it up the best you can. Don't need to add much, but maybe just clean up what's overflowing in the yard. These look pretty good. Could probably just lightly touch them. Don't trim them too much because they look like they already got trimmed and they're a little bit stressed. And then these, I actually wouldn't trim any of this along the back. I'm not even really going to specify in the estimate exactly, but if they said something, I would just say these are starting to bud, and if we trim them, you may lose a lot of that, and it might turn into like a brown top. So I would recommend leaving it alone, all this back alone. And wrapping up here, trimming the liripe, and then lastly 2, 4, just trimming and shaping these 5 shrubs here. That's it.